Hello everybody, it's Gary Hallican here, and we have something very cool to look at today. Today we're looking at the Max Factory Figma Guyver 1 figure. Now, of course, this is a fake that I got on Temu, and it wasn't really even dirt cheap on there. It wasn't super expensive, but maybe a little more expensive than you'd expect. But I had a bunch of coupons, so I didn't pay very much for it. But even without the coupons, it's still less than half the price of a real one of these. If you can even find a real one anywhere. So this is the older version of the Guyver 1 from Max Factory. You can see here it's number 231 of the Figmas there. There is a newer one of this guy. I think it's number 600. So this is the little bit older one, so it might be a little less refined than the newer one. And it's probably going to be less refined because it's a fake, of course. But the reason why this is very super cool here is because I've always been a big fan of the Guyver ever since first seeing the movies on TV on the Sci-Fi Channel way back in the day. And over the years, I kind of resigned myself to the idea that we're probably not going to ever get any toys of him, at least not here in the West, right? But fast forward to today, and here we are looking at one, even though it says on the top of the box here that this is not a toy. So maybe we still don't have toys of the characters from this, right? But anyway, it should be very super cool. Looking at the box here, we've got a picture on the top of using the Mega Smasher. And then we've got some pictures on the side there. And if we look at the back, we've got pictures of some poses that we should be able to do. And there's nothing really glaring on this box that would indicate to you that this is a fake. But one of the things I see with a lot of these fakes is that the pictures on the box are usually kind of washed out and not very vibrant. And it seems to be the case with this box here too. So on a real one, you would see more vibrant pictures that you can see better and see what kind of poses you can do. So this almost certainly should be a fake. I'm sure that will play out when we get the figure out and see how it feels. But it's difficult to tell just from looking at the box. But anyway, let's go ahead and get him out and see what we think. Okay, so here is Guyver 1 out of the package. And he was a little bit tricky to get out of the package. There's a lot of tape on it. There's tape basically all the way around the clamshell that he comes in. But once getting him out, here he is. And the feel on this figure is pretty good. It doesn't feel too cheap. It doesn't feel bad like some of the fakes I've had. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart or like it's going to break if you bend the knees or anything like that. So I would say the feel on it is pretty good. But there are definitely some quality control issues that would indicate to you that this is a fake. I've already had some trouble with the high frequency blades falling off on the elbows. They are supposed to come off, of course, so you can switch them for the longer ones, but they shouldn't come off very easily, and these do come off a little bit easily. Otherwise, though, there are some good things. I think aesthetically, the sculpt is pretty good in places. There's also places where it's not good. I think he's definitely too spindly, definitely too skinny. But for as skinny as they have him, I think the proportions are basically correct. He has those long legs, which of course he always had in the anime and so forth. So the proportions are pretty much correct, but I think they're too small. I think he's too skinny. And the sculpt is also soft in places, like on the stomach there. All the details are there, but they're not really crisp details. And the head is by far the worst on this guy. We'll look at it up close in just a second here. The color is pretty good. He's kind of more green, which causes him to match more closely to the 1989 anime version. He's more blue in the 2005 anime version. And of course, more gray in the live action movies. So being a little more green here with this figure, I think matches more closely to the old anime. And there's a very dirty kind of dark wash on it too. You can definitely see on the legs here, looks very dirty, right? So there's a wash all over him to give him kind of a dirt feel there. And it's not always consistent in all the places. It looked like the left shoulder pad was glossier than the right shoulder pad, right? So the dirt wash isn't consistent everywhere. So definitely, like I said, some quality control issues that would lead you to believe this is a fake. But let's take a look at that face, because that's the worst thing on him here. So if we get it up close, that's bad, right? The head overall is okay, but the faceplate itself is very soft sculpt, and the eyes are painted horribly. It's hard to look cross-eyed when you're wearing a helmet that has lenses, right? And your eyes aren't even shown, but somehow this manages it. But you see there the vents on the mouth, right? Very off-center and very soft sculpt on those. So the faceplate is definitely the worst thing on him here. The rest of the head is okay, but you can see here on this side, the red paint, right, is way out of bounds to where it's supposed to be. So the face, pretty bad, and definitely indicates to you that this is not the real thing. And if the real thing did look like this, you definitely shouldn't pay the full price for it. Also, I'll mention that I have switched the chest plates out on him here. He comes packaged with the opening Mega Smasher chest plate, and I've switched it for the fixed chest plate for doing this look at the aesthetics and articulation and so forth. We'll look at the Mega Smasher chest plate when we look at accessories. So speaking of that, let's check out articulation on him. So like I said, this figure actually feels pretty good. I played with it and posed it a little bit and have not felt like I was going to break it. So that's good. That's a step up from some of these fake figures. So we should be able to look at articulation just fine. You'll see that I have switched the hands on him, and that wasn't super easy to do, but not super difficult either. He does have a lot of different hands. We'll talk about those in a minute. But first, for articulation. So for the head, we have not really any look up at all. He's got a high collar on the back here, so that kind of prevents any looking up. We've got pretty decent look down. We have just a little bit of tilt side to side, not a whole lot there. We have, of course, twist. These pieces don't really get in the way at all. At the shoulders, we've got up horizontally here. At the shoulders, the shoulder pad seems to be attached to the back of the arm there, so it doesn't really get in the way too much. But we've got up about horizontal all the way around. We do have a bicep swivel. And then at the elbow, we have double elbow there. Well, it's not really a double elbow, but it acts similarly. It's one joint here, but acts similarly to double elbow. And you can see here I've knocked both of the high frequency blades off. We'll probably leave them off as we look at the rest of the articulation. We can, of course, swivel there at the elbow. And then at the hands, we've got swivel and hinges there as well. Okay. At the chest, we have not really any crunch forward at all. So still can't really get many figures that have good forward crunch. You will not see many on my channel with good forward crunch. Okay, lean back. A little bit of lean back. We've got some tilt side to side. And of course, twist at the chest. Can twist at the waist as well. Now the legs, I think, is where it's going to be pretty good. So here at the legs, we've got basically all the way up there, going forward. And go about that far going back. Maybe about that far if you don't pull it out a little bit. Then we've got not quite full splits, but pretty decent there. You can see there a discrepancy in the thigh armor. It's definitely higher on this side than on that side. We do have a thigh swivel. And then at the knees, we can go about that far and swivel at the knees if we wanted to do that. And the ankles are hindered a little bit because of the design of the ankle armor. So the feet can't really go forward and back very much, but we do have some pivot. I think this one pivots better than that one, but so we do have some pivot, and we do have a toe there. So pretty good articulation on him. We should be able to get some dramatic poses. I will definitely be doing some at the end of this video. And you can get him to stand up, which is good because the stand that comes with him is basically useless. You'll see why in just a second. So good articulation on him there. We can get some, definitely going to be able to get some dramatic poses. Okay, so let's look at accessories next. Okay, so he does have several sets of hands, pretty much anything you'd need for most of the poses you'd want to do. The ones I have on him right now with kind of curled fingers, these are going to be meant for holding open the Mega Smasher, and they do a pretty decent job at that. Then for other hands, he has the fist hands that were on him in the package. Trying to get it to focus on him here. Here we go. So we got the fist hands that were on him in the package. And then we have blade hands, karate chop hands there. And we've got open hands. And then these ones are a little bit interesting because they appear to be sort of holding things hands. They do have an opening in them, but he doesn't come with anything to hold. So I don't really know what those are for exactly. But all the hands look pretty decent. They've got the detail that they should have. So that's good. Like I said, basically whatever poses we want to do, we've got the hands for it. They were a little tricky to change just because of how much the wrist peg moves when you try to put them on. Okay, for other accessories, we of course have the extended versions of the high frequency blades. So as you've seen, these come off pretty easily, and then we can put the extended versions on. Just like that. So there we go. That's pretty good. And like I said, we'll be able to get some good poses with those. Definitely stay to the end for dramatic poses. And then the other major accessory we have, he was actually packaged with in the box, was the Mega Smasher chest plate. And so you could leave this on him because you can see here it does close, but you can see the one I have. Get him to stand up there. Okay, so the Mega Smasher chest plate that I have here, you can see the right side doesn't want to close all the way. So that's why I switched out for the fixed chest plate. But you could leave the Mega Smasher chest plate on him since it does open and close. And it switches out pretty easily here. So there we go. With the Mega Smasher chest plate. So that looks okay, even though it doesn't close completely. That looks pretty all right. And it can open, like I said, and reveal the Mega Smasher. If I don't knock it off. There we go. So there we have the Mega Smasher. There's not a lot of detail in there. It's basically just 2 silver orbs. I've seen pictures of the newer version of this figure, and there's a lot more detail in the Mega Smasher here. So it's functional, but not super detailed. However, we can actually get the hands in the right position to hold it open. So that's cool. You don't always get articulation that works like that and works like it's supposed to. So that is pretty good. If it closed properly, this would be a excellent accessory. As it is, it's a pretty functional one and serves its purpose pretty all right. Like I said, it's impressive that we can get the hands in the right position to hold it open. Then his last major accessory is the Guyver unit itself. And so this looks pretty decent. I think has most of the detail that it should have and looks quite good. There isn't really anything for the figure to do with this, of course. He can't hold it or anything like that. He has, of course, already activated the Guyver unit. And I think it's maybe a little big scale-wise. I think it should be about the same size of his head as his head. So it's maybe a little bit big scale-wise, but at least you have a Guyver unit. So that's good. And then the last thing he comes with is the stand. And as I mentioned, it's basically useless out of the package. And I'll show you why here. So, the stand, I keep knocking him over, has this peg on it. And it also comes with two of these pegs you can put on them. Put on it like that. There's another one there. And the problem is, all of the pegs, the built-in one, and both of these extra pegs are too big for the hole on his back. You can kind of force it in there a little bit, but it doesn't stay. You could shave the peg down a little bit to get it to work. But as is, right out of the package, it is too big for the hole on his back there. So you can't really use the stand. So it's fortunate that we can get him to stand up here pretty good. So overall, accessories are great on this guy. A lot better than a lot of the figures I've reviewed, since we get basically everything we'd need to do, most of the things that he does, right? So we've got various different hands for different poses. We have the high frequency blades and the Mega Smasher. So I think we're pretty good on accessories. So let's look at size comparisons next. Okay, for size comparisons, here he is with another fake Figma. This is the Bloodborne Hunter. So, I don't know if they're really in scale. I think the Bloodborne Hunter is a little bit bigger. It's definitely, the Hunter is not as skinny. And if I had it stood up straight, it'd be a little bit taller. So, these are both Figmas, but I wouldn't say they're quite in scale with each other. Here he is with another classic Henshin hero. This is the SH Figure Arts Kamen Rider Black RX. And this is a real one, actually. Real SH Figure Arts, not a fake one. And so they're pretty good in scale with each other. They're very similar in size there. Here is a Marvel Legends figure. Here's Marvel Legends Captain Marvel. So you can see the Guyver is definitely smaller than your 6-inch scale figures. He's not going to be in scale with your Marvel Legends. Definitely a little smaller than that. Here is a standard 12-ounce beverage can. And then, of course, here is John Cena. So he's kind of a small figure compared to probably a lot of the other ones that you have in your collection. Alright, so that is the Figma Guyver 1 figure, the older version of the Figma Guyver 1, and a fake version of the older version of the Figma Guyver 1. So it's definitely wonky in some places. The face especially is pretty bad, but the articulation is good, and the accessories are very good, and I am just thrilled to finally have a figure of the Guyver. That's the most important thing to me. So let me know in the comments if you have this figure. Let me know if you have the real one. Let me know if you have any other figures of the other Guyver units, the Guyver 2 and the Guyver 3. I'm going to have a Guyver 2 coming soon to show you. And let me know what else is cool. Make sure you stay for dramatic poses, and we'll see you in the next review.